Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome for the Saturday Bhakti Shastri class. So we are on to 17th chapter. We'll be concluding the 17th chapter and we'll be moving on to the 18th chapter. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we had completed uh, this particular shloka. Did we complete the 18th shloka?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
It completed, no? Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. We go on to the 19th. So 19th now, because see, we are studying austerity in the three modes. So the 17th shloka said that austerity in the mode of goodness. And what are the characteristics? Austerity when performed in the mode of goodness has a person has transcendental faith. He does not expect any material benefits, and it is only for the sake of the Supreme Lord. And then austerity in the mode of passion, it is done out of dambhena, pride, respect, honor, and worship from others. And it is neither stable nor it is permanent. Now we'll see austerity in the mode of ignorance. So he says over there that Mudha grahena atmano yat pidaya kriyate tapa parasyotta parasyo parasyot sadhanartha tattamasam udharatam. Penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So, Muda Grahena, he's saying that when he's saying Muda Grahena means what? That with any uh, foolishness, because when you say mood means foolishness. So that strategy that is performed or which is performed with foolishness. And then he's saying that grahena and foolishness to hai hi, but with a lot of endeavor also in that particular strategy. And then he's saying atmano pidhaya. Atmano yad pidhaya kriyate. So what are we do? What is that particular person doing when he's doing austerity in the mode of ignorance? Atma ko pidha de raha hai. He's actually giving torturing to his own self, or he's tormenting himself, like So not only tormenting oneself or torturing oneself, but he's saying that pidaya kriyate tapah parasya. Utsadhana arthamaham. He's saying that he wants to cause destruction, and that is why if you see, Prabhupada is saying that utsadhana artham, for the sake of causing annihilation. Why Prabhupada has translated over here, annihilation means what? He wants to, सब कुछ खत्म कर देना चाहता है वो सबको, means he wants to cause a destruction completely. for himself also and others also. He's saying, Va tat tamasam udaritam. So, that austerity which one performs because of destroying others, that is austerity in the mode of ignorance. So, if you see over here also in the pulpit, Prabhupada is giving example. Where did I see that? Hiranyakashipu. Prabhupada is giving example of Hiranyakashipu and Vrikrasur or Bhasmasur. They are doing austerity to please Lord Shiva. But what was he doing? He was cutting his own flesh and offering into the fire. And finally, he was about to even cut his head. And then, because of that, then Lord Shiva appeared. And see, Lord Shiva appeared not because Lord Shiva was pleased, right? But he felt pity for that person. And then, when Lord Shiva appeared, what did he say? Whosoever I touch, let that person become, completely into ashes. So, this is an example of how one is pidaya kriyate tapo parasya uda utsadanartham. So, austerity for the cause of distress and devastation to others. And so, there is another example of this, and it's like a fictitious story, but the principle is that when a person does tapa and God appears and knows he's envious nature. So he said that whatever you will, there is a story actually in this, that there were two people and they were both the neighbors, and then one of them is actually envious, and he said that whatever you get, uh, whatever you will get, your neighbor will get the double. So that person was asked, that person did little tapasya and he asked God to make that one person blind by one eye. So one thinks that, others' misery is actually my own pleasure. So they are called sadist. Okay. And this is actually tamasic. To cause displeasure to others, to harm others, and then when they are, that is why if you see, many people, they like to watch this, criminal stories, criminal movies, criminal serials. And why? Because they like to see people being killed. They like to be people being harmed. And seeing others, misery, they actually are rejoicing somewhere or the other. In the inner core of your heart, they feel satisfied. Some people might give some justice that no, we are very curious to know that what happens in this story, how they crack the case and how they do it. But actually, when you watch also such, criminal stories and criminal movies and all, also somewhere we in ourselves also we have to check that, am I deriving some pleasure out of it? What is the use that somebody has died and the whole, the whole, the department, police department is trying to crack that case, and in that process, another 2, 3 people get killed and all that stuff is there. So we have to see that, am I rejoicing in these things? So what is the real pleasure for me? What is my real pleasure? My real pleasure should be to actually please the Supreme Lord. My pleasure should be that the happiness that we are deriving from, where is that happiness coming from? Is it coming by serving the Supreme Lord? Is it coming by serving the senses? It is coming by torturing people. So all these things, need to be checked. And when Prabhupada says that these should be checked, means what? That has to, if it is wrong, then it has to be stopped there itself only. That should not go ahead in any way, or take a bigger form. Sometimes, some things start with a very small, just thing, and you ignore it. Ha, theek hai, ye to aise hi hoga. But if you see in a boat also, one small hole in a boat will drown the whole boat. So one small thought, one small scene, one small, involvement, what it is going to do is it is going to devastate us. It starts with small only and it takes a bigger form. That we need to really, check upon. Okay, let's go to the next shloka. So now, Krishna is going to from here, because Krishna talked about yagna, then tapa, and now he will talk about dana, that is charity. So he says that दातव्यमिति दातव्यमिति यज्ञानं दीयते अनुकंपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्. Charity given out of duty, without expectation or return, at the proper time and place, and to a worthy person, is considered to be in the mode of goodness. You see, Datyavyam iti yat danam. Datyavya means it is worth giving or it is appropriate to give. And daite anupakarine. So sometimes you don't expect, irrespective of the return, means you don't expect anything in return when you give something to somebody. And desha kale cha patre cha. So according to time, place, and circumstance. And tad danam satvikam. So such, dan or charity is in the mode of goodness. So if you see, even in the, communality, we see that with all goodness, are there without any attachment. So if one is not expecting a material result or and somebody is giving according to time, place, and circumstance, at the right time to the right person. So like, for example, on an Ekadashi day, we should give charity to the Brahmana and things like that. So when we do these things, these are, if you see in Vrindavan also, remember that in Vrindavan there are devotees who give Vastra Dan to Brahmanas. In the Krishna Balram temple itself, I'm talking about. That they bring 2-3 dhoti kurtas or saris or something like that. And after Guru Puja, they are distributing that this is from my side, please accept it. So that person has money, but he wants to utilize it or please the devotees in that way. So things like that. So uh, when we do this particular dance, then we get more benefit because according to time, place, and circumstances. Sometimes people might ask, we don't find such people, we don't know much. What should we do? Then Krishna is the greatest. Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namo. What you can do is simple as that you put it in the hundi. If you cannot find any Brahmana, you feel that, okay, I don't know anybody, I am new, I am not very, well versed, I don't know anything, straight you put it in the hundi, and things will be, okay for you. So, and why time, place, and circumstances ke hisab se we should, do charity? Because they are considered more auspicious. Time, place, and circumstance. So when I say time, then time means it becomes a Ekadashi day or a Janmashtami day or, an auspicious day. And place means a place like Vrindavan or a temple or a dham or a river near the Ganges, near the Yamuna, that way. And at other times, if we are giving, it is less auspicious at a certain time, place, and circumstance also. So if you say circumstances, then when I say circumstance means what? That uh, really requires it, some devotee really requires it, and you really give it at a proper. So, for example, he's hospitalized and there's nobody, and he requires it. So you give it at a particular circumstance. So, that charity is still okay. And now actually Prabhupada will talk about that there is no mention of giving charity indiscriminately. We may wonder that if a poor person is starving, shouldn't that person give charity? Or shouldn't that person be given charity as such? So the point is not that they shouldn't be giving charity. The point is it should be given in a way that helps that particular poor person. So in general, in the Vedic scriptures, poor people were given food. And generally people who were Shudra mentality, and if they will get some money, they will misuse it. And there are so many people in today's society where, husbands are, alcoholic, and then they abuse their wives and children, and then they use that particular money to drink alcohol. So for such people, giving money to them is actually a curse for them. एक उनके लिए श्राप ही है. So better than giving them money, what we can do, give them sources that cannot be misused. So like when you give prasad, when you give food, it cannot be misused. And here we need not be very, hard-hearted or harsh-hearted or insensitive to that particular person's suffering. But we have to be intelligent so that what we are offering to others for their help is actually helping them. Otherwise, it is going to bind us only into the. For example, you give a 10 rupee note to a beggar, and then he goes and utilizes your own hard money only in drinking alcohol. So to some extent, even we are responsible, right? That why did we give? We know nowadays beggars are, drug addicts, alcoholics, they beat, they abuse, there's Kalyuga. So then we should understand that what type of, charity should be given to such people. Best is give them Krishna Prasadam, and it's good. So sometimes some people might ask that what if we don't have Krishna Prasadam? Then in that case, what should we do? So see, whenever you are moving out of the house, definitely you know that there are beggars around in India, right? So it should be a compulsion that you keep Krishna Prasadam. And in case you don't have Krishna Prasadam and that person is begging, you can just go and buy a biscuit packet of 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, whatever it is. And you can give it to him directly. But no money business. Okay, let's assume that you are in such a place where, sometimes you're on a signal and somebody comes and begs. And then on a signal, you cannot just go and, what do you say, buy a biscuit packet. So in that case, you can just give him 1 rupee coin. With that 1 rupee coin, he cannot do anything. But the principle is that that compassion in you should not die for the others who are suffering. And that is why it is, you give that 1 rupee coin so that we do not become hard-hearted or harsh, and we still have that compassion in our heart. Otherwise, if we become hard-hearted, to have compassion is very difficult, and a person who does not have compassion is very difficult to preach also. So that way, you just give him 1 rupee. But we cannot make it as a practice as such. We cannot make it as a practice. We need to see that how we can, So let's go to the next shloka. So now Krishna is going to speak about charity in the mode of passion. यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थ फलमुद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तदानं राजसं स्मृतम्. But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire of fruit of results or in a grudging mode is said to be charity in the mode of passion. So when he's saying over here, yattu prati upakarartham. So when one gives charity with, you know, uh, pratyupkaratham, so when I'm giving something, you will also give me something back again. Prati upkara. Like earlier it was anu upkarine, but the opposite of anu upkarine is prati upkarine. So one expects something in return for that. So palam uddishyava. So palam uddishyava puna means what, that one is expecting something that he will get in return. And then he's saying that daite cha pariklishtam tad danam. So daite pariklishtam means बहुत grudgingly, very, you don't want to give it, but you're resentful. You don't want, मन से नहीं दे रहे हो आप. And then he's saying that Pariklishta means also I don't want to give charity, but because there is a lot of social pressure on me, and because of some other factors also I have to give charity. So that is Pariklishtam one more. So our actions are important, but our motivations are also equally important. So okay, whatever action I'm doing, but what is my motivation behind doing that action is also important. So if somebody is saying that if the idea is that okay, Krishna will give me will give me more than what I have given, so then it is not a very good motive or a noble motive. You're expecting something in return. So, and why this grudging pariklishtam? What is the problem with this pariklishtam? So this pariklishtam, grudging attitude, this grudging attitude will not allow me to move forward in spiritual life. Jaise for example, some people now, I have seen actually this in one of the temples, not in Pune, but when I'd gone somewhere to some other temple. So that person removes his purse, and then first he removes the 500 note. Then he tries to put, but then he says, "Nee, 500." So he puts that back the 500 rupee note. Then he removes the 100 rupee note. Then he says, "Okay, let me put 100 rupee note." Then he puts it back into his purse. And finally, doing that, he put only 1 rupee coin in that. So imagine, whom are we giving? Let's understand this also. Param Bhagwan Purushottam Shri Krishna. You're giving 1 rupee coin to him. Is he a beggar? Are you doing a favor on him that you're putting that 1 rupee coin? Sometimes people throw also. I feel so bad that Krishna is standing over there. He's bestowing his causeless mercy on you, and you're just throwing that 1 rupee coin or 10 rupee coin as such over there. So bad, means I used to feel so bad many times when people used to throw that money, even in Vrindavan, people used to throw money, you know. So of course, because I'm not in a position to say, anybody has to never say anything to anybody, because that's between them and Krishna. It's not between me and them as such. And I was not in an authoritative position as such. Of course, sometimes the pujari used to say from inside that please don't throw, please don't throw. He has the rights because he's authorized person over there. But we should understand whom are we dealing with. It's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how much has He given us? You know, there is a saying that Tera Tujuko Arpan. He's giving us and we're giving it back to Him, but how much should we give? So Srila Rupa Goswami has given a benchmark actually. And what is that benchmark? He's saying 50% of my income should be going for, uh, you know, should be going as a donation to the Supreme Lord. 50% is the benchmark. Now, for the first time when I had heard this, it was a big setback for me. 50% because we're very new. I mean, I was not even earning at that point of time. I was just in college, and I said, "Ah, I'll earn something now, you know, when I graduate, and my 50% I'll have to give it away." So then, after the speaker spoke, I went to that speaker and I asked that, you know, for me, it is very difficult to give 50% of my income. Of course, I'm not earning at this moment, but it's so very difficult. I can't digest what you have said. But it is written in the Shastras. And if Srila Rupa Goswami has said this, then there might be. So at least I had faith in the words of Srila Rupa Goswami at that point of time. That if the Goswamis are saying something, there is some meaning. But then I went and asked that Prabhuji. I said that how is it possible that we grihastas will actually give 50%? हमारा दिल कैसे मानेगा कि 50%? Suppose, for example, some person is earning 10,000 a month. How is it possible that he just gives away 5,000? So then he told me that see, gradually when you start with a 100 rupee note, okay, he says that with your student, this, you must be definitely getting some pocket money. I said, yes, I get. He's saying, start putting only 5 rupees. Start with putting 5 rupees. So, and of course, we used to get pocket money. So every week I used to save 5 rupees that I'll go to the temple and I will give 5 rupees. So when gradually I was putting 5 rupees, I was feeling very guilty. Why I was feeling guilty? Because I used to think that here is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I'm just giving 5 rupees. But then, over a period of time, the day I felt guilty that day, immediately, actually, that shloka was actually recited in that Sunday feast, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. She says, if you cannot, you can give, leaf, flower, fruit, and it's always, whatever devotion you have for the Supreme Lord, you give it accordingly as such. So then when I was hearing this again, another thing came up. Okay, with money, I should bring something also, like a flower or tulsi leaf or some, you know, uh, water or something like that. So then, gradually I started bringing one apple or, some bananas or some flowers. And sometimes, you have and see, for flowers, we don't have to spend much. In our garden, we had so many flowers. You just pluck those flowers and you take them to the Supreme Lord. And that's how, you know, this, this samskara, you can say, of giving to the Supreme Lord started with that. When when you hear in lectures as such, then you start with that. And then from that 5 rupees, it gradually, increased to, I used to feel bad at 5 rupees, So I said, no, I'll put 10 rupees now. So I started putting 10 rupees. Then I used to feel 10 rupees only. And then gradually it went on increasing. And then when we started earning also, then, it went on increasing. So he said, you gradually increase, but you don't give up this habit of giving charity. So I went and again asked, I told him that, now now I'm, giving, 100 rupee note in that day, at least. So he told me that don't leave this, samskara of giving charity. Why? Because when you give charity, then you know that nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. And one day you will come to that particular stage where you will know that Krishna is the proprietor of everything that exists in this material world. Even the money or the salary that we are earning does not belong to me at all. That belongs to Krishna. And in that way, slowly and steadily, you will be not attached to the results of your action. So sometimes, everybody, like those who start working, or, they start, getting a new job. So we expect, right, on the first day of the month, we accept a salary from, whomever we were working for. So now there is a shift or a change in the attitude. So when I get a salary, or when I'm working for the whole month, what I think, I'm working for Krishna. And whatever salary I get, there is a portion that I need to keep aside for him. If I don't work, then what will I keep aside for him? So now I become a more responsible person, or I become responsible towards my relationship to Krishna, that I have to put something aside. And slowly, slowly, when you put aside something and give it to the temple on at a proper time, place, and circumstance, and a proper day, then what exactly happens is that you become more and more selfless in your attitude. And when a person becomes selfless, then he can do bhakti very nicely. He can chant his rounds very nicely. He can develop his relationship with Krishna very, very nicely. Now, you might wonder, or you might ask that what is the connection between money and relationship between me and Krishna, right? So, Krishna belongs to those who are akinchana. Krishna is the property of the akinchana bhaktas. अकिंचन भक्त मतलब क्या? उसके पास कुछ भी नहीं है. He does not have anything of his own to give. So, Kunti Maharani also says, Namo Akinchana Vittaya, right? So, Krishna belongs to those who are Akinchan. And Akinchan Bhakta is one who thinks that nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Krishna. The best example I can give you is Sudama, right? Okay, that does not mean that we become paupers and beggars. It does not mean that. But the principle is, या सिद्धांत वही है, या तत्व वही है कि हम ये समझे कि ये सारी जितनी संपत्ति है वो कृष्ण की ही है. That wealth belongs to Krishna. I am just been given, a responsibility of using that wealth in the right direction. Whatever wealth today I am getting, it is because of my good karmas that I have done in my past, right? If I have not done any good karmas, if I was a miser in my past birth, I'll become a pauper in this birth. Pauper yani bhikari, right? So what we are doing in this lifetime will decide the next lifetime. And in this lifetime only, Purna Samatha, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam, Aham Tam Sarva Papabhyo Moksheshami Masucha. अगर इसी जन्म में ये कर लिया, then इसी जन्म में back to Godhead. You don't have to think much, right? But this will allow us to, become selfless. We know that Krishna is the Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the Surit also. He is the Aham Bij Prajapita. So if I am the child will give something, to the father. All these samskaras that are there will help us to realize and not be attached to the fruits of my actions or to the result of my action. ये जो अटैचमेंट है, ये जो आसक्ति है कि मुझे पहली तारीख को इतना मिलेगा तो मैं, people start planning, no? At least those who are not devotees or they are yet to become devotees in future, so they will start planning. अच्छा, पहली तारीख को अगर मुझे अभी ये सैलरी मिलती है तो अभी इधर खर्चा करूंगा, इधर 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 जाऊंगा अभी, एंड इधर शॉपिंग करूंगा, इधर बीवी को घुमाने लेके जाऊंगा, बच्चों को ये वाटर पार्क में लेके जाऊंगा, एंड व्हाट दे डू, दे लॉइटर दैट मनी as such. But a devotee does not loiter Krishna's money. He knows. If you see, even in Prabhupada's life also, how meticulously he was spending money, one cent in those days. Even if he has to utilize that, for example, in those days they used to have this envelope coming, by post. That envelope also he used to tear it from all the sides and he used to write daily expenses on that particular paper. So Prabhupada was extra cautious about utilizing Krishna's money. For him, every nanosecond he knew that this belongs to Krishna. Everything belonged to Krishna. So whatever he's utilizing, whether it's that small envelope paper or his desk or his writing pen or his book or his dictaphone or his chappals or his, stick, he was so cautious about utilizing those and he used to use it properly. Sometimes nowadays people are very careless, like at least I'm seeing the next generation that is there. The children are so very careless that I remember in our times when we had a notebook, we used to utilize the even upper column. I used to utilize it. If it is a rough book, I used to utilize even the upper corner for practicing some maths, given calculations as such. And nowadays, if you see children, आधा book खत्म हो गया है and they just throw it, or they leave so many lines in between and they will write, or they will tear pages and have no value for pages, because of course I'm teaching in that profession, so I'm seeing that. So every penny that we utilize, we have to be very calculative that are we utilizing in my own sense gratification or am I utilizing in Krishna's service. So in that way, we just need to be very careful, and we need to see that how are we spending our money. Okay, let's go to the next. That's the last shloka for the day. I mean, for this chapter, not the day. We have 22. We have 20. Oh, we have 28. I misassumed. Sorry. And my notes are saying that it's 28. Okay. So he's saying that, So now charity in the mode of ignorance. Adesha kale yadanam apatrebhyascha dayite asatkritam avajanatam tat tamasam udaritam. And charity performed at an impure place, at an impure time, to an unworthy person or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So he's saying that Adesha. Adesha means that place which is not really purified. Adesha kale yad danam. without considering a right place and a right time, and one gives charity. And then apatrebhya cha diyate. So uh, so if somebody is giving to apatrebhya, is giving to somebody who's not worthy of giving that particular dan or charity, you just give it for the sake of giving, and that person utilizes it something else. So, asat kritam avajanatam. So without respect, asat kritam, you don't respect that person, and you just just give it, right? I was just speaking right now. People throw money at Krishna, right? One rupee, and without proper attention. So when you are giving दान also ना, एक process होता है. A sattvic process is that बहुत प्यार से आप उनको देते हैं, ऐसे grudgingly नहीं देते हैं आप, very lovingly you give दान to that particular person. Okay. Now when you are giving दान to a brahmana or to a sannyasi or to a pure devotee, right? What is that person going to do? Because that person also knows that whatever money has come is not my property. It is Krishna's property. If I utilize even a single rupee in my own sense gratification, I'll be again bound. So what he does is he's like a postman. He will get charity from one person, but he will give it to Krishna. Or he will give it in, he will give it to Krishna in a way that it will help to expand this movement, right? So sometimes people give on Janmashtami, Ram Navami, or they give it on Gaur Purnim, or they give it on Bhadra Purnima, or they give it on Snan Yatra, or some people give it for Gita Jayanti. So like that, with proper respect you give, and that person knows whomever you're giving that, he does not utilize a single penny for his own self. He knows that this has been given with an intention to utilize it in Krishna's service. With an intention that, okay, we are giving you, we don't know how to utilize this money, but you know where it can be utilized at a proper time, place, and circumstance. You know better where to utilize it. So please utilize it in Krishna's service. Please utilize to propagate this mission of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Preaching के लिए यूज करो, किसके लिए भी यूज करो, आप अच्छी तरह से जानते हो where it is required. So that way, when people have that faith should not be killed of that person. Why? Because see, there is a science that works, okay? For example, I am giving some donation to a particular person every month, thinking that he is utilizing it in Krishna's service, right? Now, in that person's heart, the one who is giving and the one who is taking also, दोनों के हृदय में परमात्मा बैठे हुए या नहीं बैठे हुए? बैठे हुए, right? Now, in case the person who has accepted that particular charity and he does not utilize it in Krishna's service, there is a signal going to the one who has given that charity. If this person is not utilizing, better stop giving it. Better stop giving, because Krishna is concerned for both, the one who is accepting also and one who is giving also. The one who is giving with such a pure mind that yes, I don't know what to utilize it, this money, I have this money, but I don't know where to utilize it. Okay, I trust this particular, Brahmana, sannyasi, pure devotee, whomever it is, I'm trusting this particular person, right? So there is a trust. Now, when that person does not utilize that money, the given money, in Krishna's service, then what happens is this person का faith नीचे चला जाता है. Because somewhere or the other, this person will come to know that my hard-earned money was not utilized properly. I better stop giving it. So now, those who are accepting charity, are at a very responsible position, that one penny that person has given, and if he's not going to utilize it in Krishna's service, then this person will become bounded to whomever that person is given. And he will have to take birth after birth after birth after birth to repay what he has taken in the name of spirituality, in the name of bhakti. Sometimes people convince also, give donation, give donation, give donation. But we should not. We should not pester anybody. If he wants to give, of course, we can tell it. We can tell once or twice. We can tell them that, so and so, Janmashtami is coming or this is coming and you can give donation as such. Because that's our, responsibility and that's our duty as temple residents. But then we should not pester. Pester करने से क्या होगा ना? That he will give it grudgingly. And we don't want that money grudgingly. We don't want that money which that person is given with a half-hearted. We don't want that money. Or Krishna at least does not want that money. Krishna does not want that money, which is given with a half heart. So that is why this charity, when performed at an impure place, at an impure time, given to an unworthy person. So actually, I was there at that unworthy person pay. This innocent person who is giving charity, who's giving his hard-earned money, thinking that it is going to be utilized in Krishna's service. He gives it with a very nice, mode of goodness he is giving. But that person, so the one who is giving he also has to be a little vigilant enough. Where is it going? At least we should check, no, kidhar ja raha hai. And the one who is accepting also has to, at least say that, okay, your money was utilized over here. Your money went over here. He has to give some acknowledgement that, okay, we utilize this money in feeding the brahmanas, we utilize the money in making the dress for the Lord, or we utilize the money in book distribution, or we utilize the money in, renovating this part of the temple, right? So some accountability both should be having that, okay, somebody is given and somebody is taken. So what that accountability is. So, so when somebody is giving charity, right? Or somebody, when we are saying over here that asat kritam avajanatam, without proper attention, you don't give money. You just, give for the sake of money. So that also is today. Because something or someone is giving charity. Okay. Somebody is giving charity. Somebody is giving charity, and in charity, he's giving liquor to someone. So what kind of charity is that? A person is giving which is going to harm the others. So that kind of charity he's saying is charity in the mode of ignorance. किसी को harm करने वाला है. So it is into, so sometimes those who give charity or those who are given charity, are made to even beg or fall at the feet or in those olden days we have seen, in some movies that they, even ask them to, lick their boots also. And a person has to come 10, 20 times, and after that, that charity is given or something is given to that person without respect. It is given, it is not even that, they don't even consider that particular person's position as such. And this particular, charity is considered, charity in the mode of ignorance. See, the whole idea of charity, what is the whole idea of charity? That I'm not giving to that person, but what I got from Krishna, I am giving it back to Krishna. Right? You're not giving the money to a sannyasi. You're not giving money to a brahmana. You're not giving money to the temple president. But you are giving money to Krishna. So when I learn to respect others first as human beings, then I will learn to respect them as a part and parcel of Krishna. तो पहले इंसानियत के नाते मैं इनको रिस्पेक्ट करती हूँ. So अदेश अकाले च, he's saying that yad danam. Earlier it was desha kale cha patre cha when he previous location. Charity. So charity in ignorance will no desh, no kal, no patra, and it will be very misleading. It will be very unfortunate also. And asat kritam, such charity is in the mode of ignorance. Asat kritam, without any respect to that particular person. So, in the Subodhini saying that contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged. Such charity is not beneficial, rather sinful persons are encouraged to do more sins. And below they're saying that so far Krishna has described the existence of a person under the three modes by his worship, food, austerity, sacrifice, and charity that determines one's quality of faith. Faith, so if a person is worshipping, is eating food, is doing austerity, is doing sacrifice, is doing charity, so what is my faith? And accordingly, I will do it in either in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So all these three modes and their combinations are defective and are binding the person to this material world. Now Krishna will explain that all the defects can be removed by chanting Om Tat Sat. And that activity itself will become transcendental. Thus, the person who has non-scriptural faith can be gradually elevated. So, from the 23rd shloka onwards, Krishna is giving his conclusion in these 5 shlokas or 6 shlokas that is there. So he's saying that Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmanastrividham smritam brahmanastena vedascha yagnascha vihitam pura. So see, what is he saying in the translation? From the beginning of creation, the 3 words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These 3 symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So see, Krishna is describing charity, and after describing charity, Krishna has mentioned that whatever activity is done, that can be made transcendental by chanting Om Tat Sat. And if you see with this 17th chapter is discussing or it discusses the faith in the 3 modes. Shraddha Tre Vibhaga Yoga. That is why this chapter is named also Divisions of Faith, right? So Krishna started by talking about faith in the 3 modes, and because in the 16th chapter Krishna talks about 2 extremes, those who have faith and those who do not have faith, and the divine and the demonic nature, right? But what about those who are in between, those who who have faith but not in the scriptures, what happens to them? So then Krishna is responding by telling them about the three modes of material nature, and how by observing these modes we can understand that what that person or which situation that person is in, and accordingly the person is in that particular mode. Ahar, yagna, dan, tapa, we come to know. So now Krishna comes to the solution part in this last section, where he says that if somebody's faith is not scriptural, somebody's faith is not transcendental, then how can that person elevate oneself? मेरे पास शास्त्रों में भी श्रद्धा नहीं है, और मेरी जो श्रद्धा है वो दिव्य है भी नहीं, तो फिर मैं अपने आप को किस तरह से ऊंचा उठा पाऊंगा? And how will I be able to increase my faith? So he will increase his faith by chanting or reciting Om Tat Sat. So this means that there can be some non-scriptural faith, there can be some scriptural faith, there can be some transcendental faith. So non-scriptural faith means something which has come from their tradition or culture or things like that. Scriptural faith doesn't have to always be transcendental. And in this chapter, Krishna has explained how people in the mode of goodness, they worship the devatas. In the passion, they worship the yakshas and the rakshasas, and and how in the mode of ignorance, people worship the pretas and the bhutas, right? So not everything is taught in the scripture is transcendental. So the summit of that scriptural faith is transcendental faith, or that shraddha. Krishna talks about transcendental faith at many places in the Bhagavad Gita. So when he is chanting Om Tat Sat, he can elevate himself from the non-scriptural faith to the scriptural faith, and from the scriptural faith to that transcendental faith. So, these series of verses will actually help that particular person to go from the non-scriptural faith to the scriptural faith, and from the scriptural faith to the transcendental faith. So then he is saying over here, Om Tat Sat, and this Om will be explained, in the next shloka. Then Tat will be explained in the next, and Sat will be explained. So when we say that Om Tat Sat, or these three references, it is saying that it's referring to the absolute truth. And he's saying that Nirdeshah, the indication is referred to the Brahmana of the Supreme, or it is referring to, of course, now Brahmana can be many meanings as such, like, or one who is Brahman, and it can be absolute truth also. It can refer to the Brahmana also. So here, Brahmanaha, when they are saying, they are referring to the Supreme Lord. Brahman Naha bol rahe hain. So he is referring to the absolute truth. And when he's saying that, again there is a Brahmanaha. See, one is Brahmanaha and the other is Brahmanaha. So Brahmana is Sanskrit, if you say A and A lot of difference is there then. So here, when in the third line he's saying Brahmanaha, he's meaning actually Brahmanas. He's referring to Brahmins, people who have Brahmanical qualities. So Brahmanas Trividha Smritaha. That Brahmana or Brahma in three ways, what is he saying that? It is referred to Nirdesho Smitaha. Like this. So Brahmana, the absolute truth, can be referred to in three ways. And what are those three ways? Om, Tat, and Sat. So when he's saying that Brahmana, Tad, Brahmanas, Tena Vedascha, Yagnascha Vihita Pura. Pura means in the past, right? And this is how it has been used. So, by the Brahmanas, by the Vedas in the Yagnas, this is how this Om Tat Sat has been used. So, here now Krishna is explaining that how things work in spiritual life. And in terms of gradual progression also. How are things working, right? So, he's saying over here that first is just a materialistic, without any faith to anything. That is called faithless. And then comes some kind of faith, which is actually not scriptural. It is still non-scriptural. And then one comes to faith that is uh, uh, faith that is scriptural, or the scriptural faith. And then one comes to the faith that is transcendental, the transcendental faith. So when we say Om Tat Sat, is very familiar Vedic invocation, you know. And Srila Prabhupada also has written in many places, at the end of the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll see there also Srila Prabhupada has written Om Tat Sat. So the first point is that Om Tat Sat, it is referring to the absolute truth. And people can refer to the absolute in a very personalized way, like Krishna, Ram. But when people don't want to refer in a personalized way, or don't know the personal forms of the Lord, then they can refer to Om Tat Sat, right? So, when I say Om is a non-personal. We will not use impersonal because there is no direct reference to the personality. So, Om in itself is not necessarily an impersonal reference over here. Okay, because there is no direct reference to that personality. So, this word Om is related to the word that is referred to as God or Krishna or something. And even in the various religions around the world, for example, we see the word omni, right? Means means all. So the God or the Supreme Lord, who is omnipotent, supremely powerful, all powerful, omniscient, he knows everything. Omni is related to Om semantically as well, as vocally also, So this Om that is pervading everything, that which is including also everything. So even there's this Abrahamic religion also, they say that Amin or Amen, that also has that same root. And if you've seen, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur also is referring to two kinds of names of the Supreme Lord. One is the primary name and one is the secondary name. So when we say Krishna, Yashodanandan, Radhika, Vallabh, these are all primary names where Krishna is known through his devotees, right? And when we say Paramatma, Param Purush, Jagat, Vyapi, or these all names are, secondary names because they are not directly connected to Krishna with his pastimes in the spiritual world. They are connected to his, administration in this world, right? So there is no supervisor required in the spiritual world. When Krishna says in 13, what is that, sir? 13.23. Upadeshat Anumanta Bharta Bhokta Cha. He's saying in that 23rd shloka, 13.23 ही है. Hmm. उपदृष्टा च अनुमंता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वर परमार्मेति चापि युक्तो देहेस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. So there when he is saying, so he is saying that upadekshata anumanta cha, upadrishta means he is overseer and anumanta means permitter, he is giving permission. But these two are not required in the spiritual world at all. Why? Because in the spiritual world Krishna himself is present. So they don't need any overseer because their consciousness is only completely Krishnamayi. So Krishna's role is not over there as Paramatma. Krishna's role over there is as Bhagwan. And even in the life, yesterday only I was explaining actually to some devotees in Bangalore. So even there also, what, uh, you know, uh, even in the life of a devotee, once actually Krishna comes into their life. So then exactly over there, the role of the Paramatma actually finishes. And the role of Bhagwan starts. And he's saying that over there is that when Bhagwan enters into somebody's life, because somebody who's very dedicated to the Supreme Lord, somebody who has completely given himself or completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, then, and how is he surrendering to the Supreme Lord? Over there in the Bhagavatam, he is saying that Shrinvata Swa Katha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantostiha Badrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. So when that person has completely surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna, what does he do? He says, Hridayantostiha Badrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. So Krishna personally, what is he doing is, whatever is abhadra in that person, what is inauspicious in that particular person's life, he will remove it. But how will he remove it? When that person is doing Shrinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. तो जब वो श्रवण करता है तो फिर क्या हो रहा है, उसके पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तन वो जो है उसकी सारी पायस एक्टिविटीज जो है वो जागृत होती है. Then he's saying Shrinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriday Anta. Then when he's hearing, and anyone who is hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna comes and sits in that place. And Vidunoti means washing. He's taking that jhadu and whatever is abhadra, he's cleaning that. And the interesting part is, क्लीनिंग करने के बाद भगवान कहाँ बैठते हैं? उसी हृदय में बैठते हैं आपके. ही इज सिटिंग इन योर ओन हार्ट आफ्टर क्लीनिंग योर sins. And now he sits. So imagine, I was telling yesterday also, imagine that you have a very messy house, okay, and your guest comes and your guest sees that, oh, this house is very messy, let me take a jhadu and start cleaning because I don't have a sitting place. Everything is messed up. No, not an inch of place is there to sit. So what he does is he takes the jhadu, your guest takes the jhadu, and he is sweeping, and he's after sweeping, he makes space for himself and he sits over there. It's exactly like that. That खुद ही कृष्णा आते हैं आपके हृदय में, आपके हृदय को क्लीन करते ही cleanses your heart, and once the heart is cleansed, and it's a perfect place for him to sit. He does not sit in a clean place, full of unclean place, full of anarthas. Kam, Krodh, Mad, Moh, Lobh, that also he is washing away. That also he will wash away. Anybody who has surrendered to him through Shravanam Kirtanam. And that is why in the Navada Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam are so very powerful. So very powerful. As such. So, that's how, um, hmm, that is how Krishna's role as the Paramatma gets over when the devotee actually surrenders to the Supreme Lord. So now he's saying that Om Tat Sat is a secondary name. It's not a primary name. Primary name क्या है? कृष्णा है, यशोदा नंदन है, राधिका वल्लभ है, राधा नाथ है. These are all primary names, right? And sometimes Om is used with other names like Om Namo Narayano and all that, So now, earlier Krishna mentioned that Om refers to himself, right? In the 7th chapter, when he was describing, the essence of everything, that time while describing how he is the essence of everything, that time he describes that 7.8 May. एक second, I'm sorry. I'm wasting some little time, but it's important. There he says over there, no, that Pranava Sarve Vedeshu. I think that. Oh, it is Matta Parataram Nanyat. Okay. He says that Matta Parataram Nanyat Kindinachi Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Proktam Sutre Manigana Ivaha. So over there he's saying that where did he say that? Where am I mistaken? So after actually describing, he's saying that, he's saying that I'm the essence of everything and I'm all pervasive also. So that time he's describing Pranava's Sarva Vedeshu. Among the Vedas, I am that Pranava. And Pranava is referring to Krishna only. And even in the Vibhuti Yoga, in the 10th chapter also, Krishna is saying that it comes from, that Krishna is Om. In this way, Krishna made it very clear that Om is actually referring to him itself. So when he's saying that iti nirdesha over here, iti nirdesha means that how this absolute truth is referred to. And then he's saying Brahmanas Trividaha Smritaha. So the three names, Tat also refers to the absolute truth, and Tat Amsi, you are that. The Mayavadis, they refer this for that individual soul. You are that. But you are that in qualitative sense, not in quantitative sense. So the Vaishnavas understanding is that you are his. What the Mayavadi say? They say that Tat Amsi, you are that, means you are only that supreme person. That is Mayavadi is referring to. But what is the Vaishnava understanding is? The Vaishnava understanding is that you are his. Tat Amshi, मैं उनका अंश हूँ. I belong to him. So Sat also refers to the absolute truth, and it is an eternal underlining source of everything. So when you say Om Tat Sat, these are the three ways to refer the absolute truth. And in one sense, though Krishna is talking about chanting the holy names and the potency of the chanting to elevate, the faithless, the faithless to the faithful and the non-scriptural faith. So the to the scriptural faith. So all people, he's saying, can make advancement through this chanting of the holy names, and this is very much there into our bhakti path also. And that is why Prabhupada, is questioning that do everyone, because Prabhupada has asked this question to everyone, and everyone has to chant the name of Krishna. And Prabhupada said that no, you can chant the name of God as per your religion, right? So in Iran, when Srila Prabhupada was discussing with his disciples, in the background, there was a namaz sound had started. And Srila Prabhupada closed his eyes and went into deep meditation. And when the namaz ended, Srila Prabhupada opened his eyes and his eyes were bright. And Srila Prabhupada asked, Srila Prabhupada asked, it was not that, of course, beautiful. And devotees were, back and asked, wouldn't it better if they were chanting Hare Krishna? The namaz people should be chanting Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada looked a little hurt, and Srila Prabhupada said that, why are you making me secretarian? They are glorifying God in their own way, and we are glorifying God in our own way. So, as far as this principle of glorification of God is there, that principle has to be focused. The form in which that glorification happens, that is different from different people. That is why if you see His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also, how much he focuses, he says that we all should learn, every religion teaches to love God. The ways might be different, but in principle, every religion teaches you to love God. And sometimes it might take a little more time to reach that particular destination, but uh, that principle has to be focused. The form in which that glorification happens, that is different for different people. But the name Krishna does not refer to the form of the Lord, which is, there in the highest abode in the spiritual world. There is some speciality to this name Krishna. But when we are talking to the world on a with a universal perspective, at that time we should understand that what time we should understand, what time to present, and we are talking about people of different faith. अभी तक faith भी develop नहीं हुआ है, and we don't have to impose our faith on them. Our goal is not to spread one organization. ISKCON is an organization, right? But to raise that global consciousness. The goal is to spread consciousness. That is to say, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We want to spread that Krishna consciousness. And hence, at one level, when you say Krishna consciousness, for some people is God consciousness. They might not be even aware of that God is Krishna, or if someone is elevated from that faithless to the faithful level, then why not? So we see that Srila Prabhupada approach to people with other religions, when he was approaching different religions, was different. He did not approach, with the same, mindset. It was depending on the level of commitment of those people he used to interact. So if someone is a very normal Christian, not a very strict follower of Christianity, then Srila Prabhupada would tell him to practice, Krishna consciousness. If his faith is completely, बिल्कुल नीचे के level पर है तो, then he would say that, okay, you practice Krishna consciousness. But those who are committed to practice Christianity, he will not try to convert them, but he will try to tell them to follow Bible more faithfully. And, he would understand this universal principle of God consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada will tell them to read Bhagavad Gita, which is, the science of God, and will help them to become a better Christian. So the focus of the devotee is to elevate the consciousness of the people according to that particular level. है ना? किसी को गणपति में श्रद्धा है, किसी को शिव जी में श्रद्धा है, किसी को साई बाबा में श्रद्धा है, किसी को माता रानी में श्रद्धा है. Right? So Srila Prabhupada, even has mentioned about atrocities, of this Islamic religion on Hindu temples, but he did not harp on it. he did not stick to that point. Every religion, they will have some extreme people. They will have some people who follow their religion and, बोले ना हम खुदा के बंदे हैं, खुदा. There are many people who are like that, who are not harming, other religions. And uh, actually, some people, what they will say, my way is the only highway, or my way is the only way. So when Krishna is also saying that, surrender unto me, he says through his representatives. And his representatives can come at different times and different ways, to gradually elevate. Or in the Bible, it is said that one should go to the Father through only me. So these statements, they refer that one need to follow God in this, material world. And like if a patient is going to the doctor and the doctor says that do this, do that, and the patient says that no, I went to that doctor and he said something else, and then the other doctor and he said something to me. So then the current doctor will say that okay, you forget everything now, you just follow me, right? This person has gone to 10 doctors, but the current doctor will say, okay, I have diagnosed you properly, now you just follow me. So now this does not necessarily mean that all the other previous doctors were false, but a statement to follow is meant to create a focus. Like someone in the class told Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, your philosophy sounds like Buddha. Srila Prabhupada asked him, do you follow Buddha? Then that person was taken aback. And then Prabhupada said that follow Buddha, follow Christianity, follow someone, but just don't talk. So Srila Prabhupada said that Old Testimony, New Old Testimony and New Testimony, and then where sometimes the Old Testimonies are there, and which were not really very recently published also. And these Old Testimonies, they don't give a very deeper scientific knowledge. But over here now, the Bhagavad Gita is telling us, all our purports, whether it is Bhagavad Gita purports or Bhagavatam purports or the Chaitanya Charitamrita purports, they are actually, telling us. And of course, he's not quoting anything in the public class. So any religion can make its followers advance, but generally we see religion is for dharma, artha, kama. And at this level only most of the religions are practicing today. People are following dharma. People follow religion for what? Artha and kama. Artha means money. And as soon as he gets money, then more kama. Kama means two ways. He'll work more for his own sense gratification, or he'll follow his lust. Right? So, and when they say, that dharma को क्यों follow करते for artha and kama, and then moksha. So then people will think, acha, if I do this, I will get moksha. I will go to heavenly planet, and after going to heavenly planet, what will I do? I'll enjoy more over there. So again, there is sense gratitude. So when Prabhupada said, scriptures of the Malechas and Yavanas have limitations, he simply was pointing an objective fact that we should not read such scriptures which are for dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And even if you see Vyasadeva also, when he wrote these scriptures, what was the thing that he had not mentioned about the Supreme Lord, Supreme Lord's name, form, qualities, and activities. And that is why he was despondent. So Narad Muni had to come and tell him that, you please write a scripture which will talk about Shuddha Bhakti, and then he wrote, and then he was happy as such. So that is called this Om, this, when you say this Om Tat Sat as such. Let's go to the next shloka. So then he is saying that Tasmad Om iti udaritya yagna dana tapa kriya pravartante vidhanoktah satatam brahmavadinam. Therefore, translated undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity, and penance in according with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada is quoting over Om Tad Vishnu Param Padam. The lotus feet of Vishnu are the supreme devotional platform. The performance of everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord shows the perfect activity. So see, when he's saying this, right, that how this Om has been chanted earlier and will be chanted by one who wants to elevate his consciousness. So here this Brahmavadi, when he's saying Brahmavadinam, the transcendentalists, okay, doesn't refer to any Brahmavadi. Brahmavadi means, generally Mayavadi and this Brahmavadis. So here Brahmavadi means those who are adhering to the scriptural injunctions and they're aiming for a spiritual life. So that they can come to that particular transcendental position. So this is what actually is being said over here. Let's go to the next shloka. So then he's saying, because this is the 25th shloka, I think. Tad tad iti abhisandhaya phalam yagna tapa kriya dana kriyascha vividdha kriyante moksha kanshabhi. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from this material entanglement. So he's saying over here that taditi abhinandasya. So without any desire and yagna tapa kriya, dana kriyascha vividha, he's saying, right? So the difference is here Krishna is specifically saying that moksha kanksha bhi, those who are seeking after liberation or those who are desiring for liberation. So uh, um, uh, when somebody has got that attachment, tad iti anabhi sandhya, without desiring. If somebody has that, attachment, so that attachment, he should not have that attachment, but he should have that anabhisat sandhya, without any attachment. So then without any attachment, kya hoga? Phalam yagna tapa kriyaha. So without attachment to phalam, yagna, dana, tapa, when one is chanting this tad, then one will attain that transcendence. Or one who wants to attain liberation, he can chant tad in this particular way. So Prabhupada says to be elevated to spiritual platform, one should not act for any material gain. Act should be performed for ultimate gain of being transferred to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead. And the next he is saying that 26th and 27th shloka is combined. And he says that Sadbhave sadubhave cha saditi et prayujyate prasasate karmani tat सच्चादः पार्थ युज्यते यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थिति सदिति च्युत्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थं सदित् सदित्येवामि विधीयते. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity which true to the absolute nature are performed to please the Supreme Lord, O son of Pritha. So then he's saying that all these, Sadbhave, Sadhu Bhave cha, which means that he's referring to all the, uh, referring to the absolute truth only. And when you say Sadhu Bhave, Sadbhave, the sense of the nature of a devotee, all referring to the supreme absolute truth. And he's saying that uh, Krishna spoke first about Om, then he talked about Tat, and now he's talking about this Sat. So when he's saying Yagne Tapasi, Dane cha, है So um, uh, he's pronounced it doing yagna, while doing yagya, while doing dana, while doing tapasya. And uh, when he's doing all these things, this Om Tat Sat has to be chanted. Karme chaiva tad artham, karma, while doing some karma, or while doing, so it is indicated through this that whatever auspicious activities he is doing, yagna, dan, tapa, whatever he is doing, whatever karmas also he is doing, if he chants this Om Tat Sat. So, or even if he's doing his prescribed duties also, he can chant this. So, there is one in the second chapter, if you'll remember, we had seen one material Swadharma and we had seen one transcendental Swadharma. Material Swadharma is according to Varna and Ashram we do duties, right? And transcendental Swadharma is for our practice of bhakti and ultimately, getting liberation from this material existence. So when he's saying that whatever material or spiritual duties one is doing, we can connect with the absolute truth. And spiritual dharma is connected and material dharma also we can connect. So, if you see in this chapter only, the starting question was what? That person who has faith but not in the scriptures. So Krishna has said that one has to come to that level of having the faith in the scriptures. So how will that faith in the scriptures come? By chanting Om Tat Sat. One can help oneself from a non-scriptural faith to a scriptural faith, and which is like, the second name of God, the secondary names. And then chanting some other names of God will also help him to come to that particular transcendental level. Then, when you're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, at that point it will help you to come. And then what is he saying ahead? He's concluding with this now. He's saying that Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapas tapastaptam krutam chayat asadyuchyate parthana cha tat pratyayano iha. So he's saying that anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme Lord, O son of Pritha, is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this lifetime and the next lifetime. So see, if someone will say, I don't have faith at all. So no faith is essential, but best is when faith is transcendental. Otherwise, it should be scriptural, or at least some kind of faith is required. So Krishna is saying that what will happen when there is no faith at all. So he's saying over here that ashraddha, ashraddhaya utam dattam. So without anything that is performed without shraddha, or anything which is offered as a sacrifice, or given as a charity also, dattam. And then he's saying that tapaha tapam kritam chayat. Okay, so tapam kritam chayat means whatever austerity is also performed. Asat iti uchyate partha. Then it is considered asat. It is considered of not, when you say asat means only false. And false मतलब क्या, कुछ ज्यादा काम का नहीं है वो, not much of use. It is just temporary. And that is why, you know, if you see, Prabhupada is translated over here as false. False यानी क्या? A false person is of no use, you know, or false things are of no use, right? It will just dwindle away. So that is why he's saying that na cha tat pretaya no yah. See, pretaya means what? After death. मृत्यु के बाद भी कोई काम का नहीं है ये, right? And then yeah, in this world also, nor in the next world also. And if someone is faithless, you know, if you see, when even in the 4th chapter also, if you remember, that if somebody is faithless, nayam loko nasti na paro na sukham cha, what is that word? Samshay atmanah, he said. That if somebody has samshay, if somebody has, you know, doubting nature, then he cannot have good results, neither in this lifetime or nor in that next lifetime. So, same is said over here that na cha tat prayata na iyaha. So, neither in this lifetime nor in the next, if somebody is faithless, he's not able to function in this life also, in next life also. So, your faith is used for those who do not have faith in Krishna or in God. But in general, everyone has faith in something, including even the atheists also have some faith. They have faith in godlessness. And that is why you know, no one can prove that there is no God. So it's a very narrow meaning to have strong faith only in Krishna. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there is a shloka which comes, Shraddha Shabde Vishwase Kahe Shudrid Nishchayah. Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoye. If you have heard this shloka. So, they are saying that Shraddha is very confident. Shraddha means only firm faith. That by rendering this loving devotional service, by rendering bhakti to Krishna, I am performing all the other subsidiary activities. And such a faith is favorable for executing my devotional service or doing bhakti. So then somebody will ask that, what is this faith? Faith means Shraddha Shabde, Vishwasa Kahe. So faith is unshakable confidence in something that is transcendental. सुदृढ़ निश्चय मीन मेरा कंप्लीट सुदृढ़ है, मैं बिल्कुल डिटरमाइंड हूं, मैं बिल्कुल अनशेकेबल हूं. नो पर्सन कैन कम एंड शेक माय strong determination towards bhakti or the 9 types of devotional services, right? So sometimes, you know, if you see even in this some person will come and shake our faith. No, Chinmay mission is very good. No, that mission is very good. This mission is very good. And some people get even shaken up also. And they go away. So no, strong determination. And what is that strong determination? That Krishna Bhakti Kaile. If one does Krishna Bhakti, then what happens? By doing Krishna Bhakti, Sarva Karma Krita Hoya. All other work is done automatically. This is faith. This he is talking about is a similar faith which is exhibited, you know, by the Vraja Gopis. They left everything and went to Krishna midnight, 12 baje. Krishna is, you know, playing the flute. Krishna बांसुरी बजा रहे और बुला रहे एक एक गोपी को. He is calling by playing his flute. Midnight, he is calling. So this level of faith, Krishna is calling at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityajam mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma sucha. That forget everything else Forget all that religion. Just surrender unto me and everything will be done. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma sucha. Even if you feel that you have not done this duty or that duty and some sinful reactions will come to me, I will take care of those sinful reactions. Don't worry, just serve me. Just do my seva. So, sometimes some people might think that, faith might have many meanings. Initially, there might be very simple faith or that, there is some God and beyond this world, there is some Shakti, some power. And I wanted to know more about him. So, in the 9 stages of bhakti, when you say Adhav Shraddha Tatha Bhajan Kriya Tatha, sorry, Adhav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Tatha Bhajan Kriya Tatha Anata Vritit. So, first is Shraddha, which Srila Prabhupada translated as favorable curiosity. When I'm saying that favorable curiosity is there, then only, it starts with that curiosity that what is that I want to know. And I want to know something about, spirituality. So this is the beginning. And that is also one level of faith. But the nectar of devotion, we are actually studying nectar of devotion in the Hindi class. So nectar of devotion also uses the word Nishta. And Nishta is strong faith or strong, unshakable faith. And, or you can say that it is strong, unshakable, realized faith. It is, that is an internalized faith. The ultimate stage is, of course, prema. But when we love someone, we are ready to give up everything and anything for that particular person, in that kind of love, that faith is implied. For example, a girl and a boy, they both love each other. They are ready to leave everything. घर बार सब छोड़ के भाग जाते हैं because they both have faith on each other, right? So, like even the mother and the child, there, of course, there can be love without even faith also. Like the mother and the child, they have that faith between them. So, that faith, that, there can be faith even without love. There can be love without faith also. So, love without faith is mother and child ka faith. And faith without love is like the patient and the doctor. I have faith in this doctor. But at the highest level, when love is there, faith is implied in that. Angela Bhaktivinoda Thakur, very famous bhajan, if you say, Maro bhi rakho bhi, jo ichha to mara, Ashlishyava padaram pinashtuma, Maddarshana marmato karutuva. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is giving that. So it is indicating that such an implied and an implicit faith or level of this particular faith that one knows without any doubt that whatever Krishna does is for my good, and therefore I will not oppose it, I will accept it gracefully, gratefully. That is at a very advanced level of faith. So when one accepts Krishna's will, in the Bhagavad Gita, also Arjuna, says that, Arjuna accepted now. Whatever Krishna said in that 45 minutes pep talk, he's accepting. And then, Karishe Vachanam Tva. I will do whatever you will say. And so when Arjuna said that in the Bhagavad Gita, even higher, not only, your will be done, but I will do your will. आपकी जो इच्छा होगी मैं वही करूंगा, करिष्ये वचन तम. So there can be various levels of faith, but our faith will keep on increasing when we associate with whom? We associate with devotees who have faith, who have studied scriptures, and that faith will increase by that divine intervention. Certain moments of experiences in our life, we see. And most potent way, which is actually spoken in the nectar of devotion, is the chanting of the holy names. Studying the scriptures, associating with devotees, visiting the holy places, the five potent forms that are there, worshipping the deities. So by these, faith can be increased transcendentally, and over a period of time, it will become nishtha, and from nishtha, then you will go to love. And if you see, we'll be seeing actually the next book that I'm going to pick up is Nectar of Devotion only, after this 18th chapter finishes. So we will see that the real actually bhakti starts from nishtha only. The bhakti does not really start from Adho Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya, or Anartha Nivritti. But the bhakti will start when you have firm faith in this particular process. You'll have firm faith in Krishna. The original bhakti starts from there. So there are two parallel lines going. After Anartha Nivritti, you have Nishtha, you have Ruchi, you have Asakti, you have Bhav, and you have Prem. So there are two parallel lines running, right? So one is your Vedi Sadhana Bhakti is running on one line. ट्रेन की दो पटरी होती है ना, तो एक पटरी पे क्या चल रहा है? वैदी साधना भक्ति चल रही है. On the next parallel line is your Raganuga Bhakti running. And that will be very elaborately explained. So your original bhakti only starts with firm faith. And that firm faith, nectar of devotion says that kaise jagrit hoga? By chanting, by studying scriptures, by associating with the devotees, by going to holy places, and by worshipping the deities. At home, these five potent forms of bhakti will get you to that nishtha level. There is a very nice lecture given by His Grace Kamal Lochan Prabhu. Sorry, now he is Bhakti Padma Saurabh Pacharak Maharaj. Okay, he's got sannyas recently. And he has given very nicely, actually, a very, if I have the link, I will just send it on the WhatsApp group. He has given a very nice link with these five potent forms. And I was very, very impressed with that lecture. I've written it down also, but I'll send you. You can hear it from his lotus mouth only as such. So with this, the scriptural faith that is there, that needs to be increased. And we need to check that मेरी श्रद्धा का लेवल अभी क्या है. कोई आके मुझे ऐसे ही पैसों को लेकर और बहलाएगा फुसलाएगा, या नेम फेम के लिए बहलाएगा फुसलाएगा और लेके जाएगा, तो क्या मैं जाऊंगा या नहीं जाऊंगा? Will I go or will I not go? And then that is that checkpoint for us. So that firm, unshakable faith, that we need to have, and that is going to help us in the long run to advance in spiritual life and get the final prema of the Supreme Lord. So, that prema also is what? आप पहले दे रहे हो, वहां से पहले आ नहीं रहा है. First you give. ये यथा मा प्रपद्यन्ते. I am giving that. First I will invest my faith. Then Krishna will invest his faith in me. So when I am completely surrendered to him, then Krishna will have complete faith. Then he will actually, make me an instrument to complete his mission, to use me in his mission as such. So why was Prabhupada an instrument in this mission of Krishna, reclaiming the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead? Because of that full faith in Krishna. Full faith in Krishna, and then that faith Krishna invested, when Prabhupada invested his faith, Krishna invested his faith in Prabhupada. And that's why Prabhupada was sent down. Because he had full faith that only this person will be. And then there is a divine intervention also. You know, yes, he has faith in me. I also have faith in him. मुझे पूरा भरोसा है इस पे कि ये नीचे जाके जो है बहुत सारे लोगों का उद्धार करने वाला है. That's why Prabhupada was sent over here. So, निष्ठा and then love. Firm faith. Firm faith मतलब यह एग्जाम्पल है ना कि एक तंबू गाड़ा है, मतलब completely, आंधी आएगी, तूफान आएगा, anything happening in my life, I will not shirk away from bhakti. I will not lose my faith in this process. That's called firm faith. Nishtha. Okay, anybody has any questions, queries, doubts? You can ask me. Yes,
Krishna Mataji.
you can ask me.
Mataji, yes, in 17.23, you talked about Om Tat Sat, that whatever work the person does, he can then afterwards chant Om Tat Sat, like. So whether we are doing our daily karmas and all, after finishing that, if we chant Om Tat Sat, is good for us, or it will.
Yes, whatever activities that I have done in this whole day, Om Tat Sat, I offer it to you. Because we know these three words are referring to the absolute truth only. So when I'm chanting Om Tat Sat, and I'm offering it to the Supreme Lord at his lotus feet. That way we can chant, right? But sometimes, what you're asking me, sometimes some people, take it as an escapism. That instead of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, can I chant Om Tat Sat on my beads? So then that there, is like, there we say no. That no, chanting is, we have taken Diksha and we have given a vow that I'll chant 16 rounds every day. But yes, as a matter of gratitude to the Supreme Lord, at the end of the day, if you want to offer everything to the Supreme Lord, then you can chant Om Tat Sat. And you can back it up by one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra also. Right?
Okay, Mata. Actually, I was just asking for this. Suppose I have heard this Om Tat Sat from some senior.
His Holiness Jai
devotee
Pataka Swami Maharaj always, says Om Tat
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the class. Yes.
Yes. So I heard this. So I'm working in the office and all. So if I am finishing something and I speak Om Tat Sat, because say at 5 we want to be detached from each and every karmas and all.
Right.
So that can help us like that. That is what is my intention.
Yes. And it's a very nice intention that you want to offer everything to the Supreme Lord. And you're thinking that, no, I'm not the doer. Actually, Krishna, you are the doer. And because you have done it, let me offer it to you as such. So, yes, this is a good, bhav as such.
One more Mataji question is that in 17.28 we discussed about this. They were telling that nacha tat priyate na means that means in this life, in the material world, and also in the spiritual world, it does mean.
Yeah, in this material world also, and it in the spiritual world, in both this lifetime also, next lifetime also. See, for us devotees, our next lifetime, will be in the spiritual world. It will take some time, right? I might not go back to God at this lifetime. Maybe, after 4 or 5 at least, lifetimes, you can say. Some people who are more humble, they say that, millions of lifetimes I will take. But no, if you see that even if I have done 21 percentage, and in the next lifetime I'm starting with 22 percentage, but still I know that I belong to Krishna. So progression is very faster. ऐसा नहीं है कि ओके देन 42 एंड देन 62 एंड देन 82 एंड देन फाइनली नॉट दैट वे.
Oh,
People will go like Katwang Maharaj within some few minutes only,
mm.
But कितना आपकी तीव्रता है, how much intensely are you praying to the Supreme Lord? It always depends on that. If you start praying intensely in this lifetime only, you can go this lifetime only come back to Godhead. Right? But what is the intensity of my bhakti? That is more important. कि मैं कितनी intensely I am doing bhakti without any attachments and detachments. That is why they say that bhakti is very easy for the easy people and difficult for those who are complicated in their minds. Those intentions are not clear, those who are duplicit, those who are hypocrite. It is very difficult for them. They can't follow. But those who are simple hearted and straightforward people, they're able to chant their rounds every day. Only the crooked people के लिए, hypocrite people के लिए chanting 16 rounds becomes very difficult. Right? So,
Oh,
कहने का मतलब यही है कि अगर मुझे मेरा ये जन्म और अगला जन्म भी सफल करना है, तो फिर मुझे जो है सब कुछ भगवान को अर्पण करना सीखना चाहिए. दैट्स इट. राइट.
thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we'll stop for the day. Srila Prabhupada की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, भगवत गीता की जय. हरे कृष्णा, हरि बोल.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.